I caught my fiancé cheating with my mentee. At our office retreat. Have you ever trusted someone so deeply that the thought of betrayal didn't even cross your mind? What if the person you trusted with your heart and the person you worked with every single day turned out to be the ones stabbing you in the back? In today's episode, we're diving into the twisted web of lies that unfolded not just at home, but also in the office. Ava, a sharp and ambitious marketing manager based in Chicago, was building the life she always dreamed of. A promising career, a loving fiancé, and the respect of her team. But little did she know, two people closest to her were sharing more than just project deadlines and small talk at parties. This isn't your average love triangle. It's an office affair masked by conference calls, fake work retreats, and secret folders labeled drafts. As we peel back the layers of this story, you'll find yourself asking, how blind can love make us? How much betrayal can a person survive? And when trust is broken in both your personal and professional world, where do you even begin to rebuild? Buckle up, because this is not just a story of heartbreak. It's a story of exposure, resilience, and a revenge so quiet. It echoes louder than any confrontation ever could. My name is Ava, 29F, and until about 3 months ago, I thought I had it all figured out. I live in Chicago, work as a marketing manager at a mid-sized agency, and was engaged to Ethan, 31 million, a calm, witty software developer I'd been with for nearly 5 years. We were planning a spring wedding. Everything felt safe, stable, right. Ethan had always been the quiet type. Supportive, funny in a dry way, not overly emotional, but I like that about him. Or at least, I thought I did. Things started to shift when I was assigned to mentor a new team member at work, Lily, 26F. She was sharp, eager to impress, and, honestly, she reminded me a little too much of myself when I first started. I introduced her to Ethan during one of our team get-togethers. She was warm, chatty, and maybe too friendly. But I brushed it off. I'm not the jealous type. Fast forward a few weeks. Ethan's work hours suddenly exploded. He had client meetings on Saturdays, system bugs that kept him glued to his laptop, and a work retreat that conveniently overlapped with our anniversary weekend. Red flag? Sure. But when you love someone, you give them the benefit of the doubt. Then one evening, I stayed late at the office to finish a last-minute pitch deck. I needed a template we had used before and remembered Lily had done something similar. I opened her shared project folder on our drive, and that's when I saw it. A subfolder titled Drafts. Inside were a few random files, but one stood out, miamiitinerary.pdf. Curious, I clicked. It was a full weekend getaway, flights, hotel reservations, dinner plans, 2 names on the confirmation, Ethan M. and Lily R. My blood ran cold. I took screenshots. Then I went home and waited. That night, I confronted Ethan. At first, he claimed it was a coincidence, some work trip she must have misunderstood. But when I showed him the flight tickets and the reservation in his name, he cracked. He admitted it. They had been seeing each other for a couple of months. It just happened. He didn't want to hurt me. And, of course, he still loved me. Just differently now. I broke off the engagement immediately, moved out 2 days later, told HR everything I could without destroying my professionalism, then handed in my resignation a month later. I now freelance from home. Lily and Ethan, they're still together, from what I've heard. But honestly, they deserve each other. What makes this story hit so hard isn't just the betrayal, it's the proximity of the betrayal. Ava didn't just lose a fiancé. She lost a colleague she was mentoring. A rising star she helped bring in, trained, and trusted. There's a different kind of sting when someone you empowered ends up being the person who dismantles your life. Let's unpack some of the key dynamics here. It just happened. The classic excuse, Ethan's attempt to justify cheating by claiming it just happened, is a total cop-out. Affairs don't just happen. They're built on choices, conversations, flirtations, ignored boundaries. Every moment of dishonesty is a conscious step toward betrayal. And Lily? She wasn't some innocent bystander. She planned a weekend trip. That's not a slip. It's a strategy. Workplace boundaries gone wrong. This story also exposes a serious issue in modern workplaces: how blurred personal-professional lines can lead to emotional chaos. Ava took on a mentor role, trusted someone with professional guidance, and that relationship was weaponized against her. It's more than unprofessional. It's predatory. Emotional safety versus comfort zones. Ava trusted Ethan because he was consistent. Not exciting, not dramatic, but stable. Sometimes we mistake emotional familiarity for safety. But true emotional safety includes accountability, transparency, and respect. Ethan had none of those when it counted. The quiet revenge. Ava's response? No yelling, no scene, no vengeance post. She simply walked away with evidence, grace, and strength. That's power. That's the kind of closure some of us never get, and she gave it to herself. That's something Reddit, and we, have mad respect for. Now let's hear what Reddit had to say about it. And spoiler alert, the comments? Savage, insightful, and oh so satisfying. And now, let's dive into the battlefield of Reddit comments, where the real judgments are served piping hot. Some are brutal, some are brilliant, and some? Honestly, they speak what we're all thinking. Top comment, 12.4K upvotes. He didn't cheat with her. He cheated on you. Huge difference. Lily didn't steal him. He handed himself over, gift-wrapped in betrayal. Oof, Reddit's not letting Ethan off the hook. And honestly, that line, gift-wrapped in betrayal, that's cold, but accurate. Comment, 9.1K upvotes. Mentoring someone who ends up sleeping with your fiancé? That's betrayal on betrayal. She didn't just cross a line, she used it as a runway. Mic dropped. The visual of that line being a runway? Straight savage. Lily really took the mentorship and weaponized it. Comment, 7.7K upvotes. This is why I always say, never ignore your gut. If you feel something's off, it usually is. Your instincts were screaming and he gaslit them into silence. Classic case of intuition versus manipulation. Reddit's reminding us all, listen to that inner voice, especially when it's whispering, check the shared drive. Controversial take, 4.2K upvotes, 1.1K downvotes. Unpopular opinion, but maybe the relationship was already emotionally over for him, and he didn't know how to end it. Still wrong, but not black and white. And there it is, the gray area. Some users think Ethan was emotionally checked out long before the cheating. Does that justify it? Not really, but it does add a layer of complexity. Funny comment, 5.9K upvotes. Imagine cheating and choosing Miami as your getaway. Trash behavior and trash taste. Okay, we needed that. Thank you, Reddit, for always finding a way to roast everything, including the vacation choice. And that's a wrap on today's story. From emotional landmines to cold-blooded screenshots, this drama had it all. So, what do you think? Was Ava too kind in how she handled it? Should she have exposed them more publicly? Or did she do exactly what a queen does, walk away in style? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget, Reddit never forgets. X returns, Lucas cheats. Can he ever make it right? Reddit love drama. They say the past has a funny way of creeping back into your life, especially when you think you've finally moved on. But what happens when the past doesn't just knock? It kicks down the door with a smile and a story? In today's drama-filled Reddit story, we dive into the life of Lucas, a 27-year-old creative living in Seattle, finally in a healthy, happy relationship after years of emotional chaos. His new girlfriend, Rachel, is everything his ex wasn't: kind, grounded, and emotionally available. But just when things seem perfect, Sienna, his wildly unpredictable ex, comes back into the picture. She's suddenly nostalgic, says she's grown, and wants to catch up over coffee. Harmless, right? Or is this the start of something much darker? A moment of weakness? A betrayal in disguise? Get ready for a roller coaster of mixed emotions, manipulation, and a choice that could destroy everything. This is one of those stories where you'll scream at the screen, "Don't do it, Lucas!" Lucas, 27, had spent the last 2 years picking up the pieces after a toxic breakup with Sienna. She was wild, intense, and emotionally exhausting, a relationship full of highs, lows, and constant fights. When they finally split, it felt like a release. Fast forward to today, Lucas is in a calm, loving relationship with Rachel, a school teacher who brings peace and laughter into his life. Things had been smooth, until a random DM changed everything. It was Sienna. She sent a short message. "Hey, I saw your new design project. Looks amazing. Hope you're doing well." Lucas stared at it for hours. He hadn't heard from her in over a year. Curiosity got the better of him. He replied, cautiously polite. One message led to another. Soon, they were texting daily. Sienna told him she had gone to therapy, was working in marketing now, and had found clarity. Then came the inevitable. "Would you be open to grabbing coffee sometime?" Just as friends. Lucas was hesitant, but convinced himself it was closure. He didn't tell Rachel. They met at a small cafe near downtown Seattle. Sienna looked even better than he remembered. Poised, confident, charming. She talked about her growth, about regret, and about how she still thought about him. The conversation turned personal fast. "You were the only person who ever really understood me, Lucas. Do you ever think about us?" The moment hung heavy. Lucas didn't respond, but he didn't walk away either. That one coffee became 2. Then late-night texts. Then a weekend where Rachel went to visit family, and Sienna just happened to be in the area. You can guess what happened next. Lucas cheated. And he hated himself the second it happened. He tried to pretend it didn't mean anything, that it was a moment of weakness. But it wasn't just the act. It was the emotional betrayal leading up to it. When Rachel returned, he couldn't look her in the eyes. She knew something was off. It took her less than 24 hours to check his phone. She found everything. She left without saying a word. Lucas now sits alone in the apartment they once shared, wondering how he could throw away something so good. For someone who once made him feel so broken. Let's break this one down. Because, oh boy, Lucas. At first glance, Lucas seems like someone who simply made a mistake. He moved on, built a better life, and then got blindsided by a ghost from the past. But when we really peel back the layers, it becomes clear. This wasn't a one-time slip. It was a slow-motion train wreck of poor decisions. First red flag? He responded to Sienna's message. Sure, you can argue it was harmless, but let's be real. If you're hiding conversations from your current partner, you already know you're doing something shady. Second red flag? He kept escalating. One coffee turned into emotional intimacy. Emotional cheating is real, folks, and sometimes it cuts deeper than physical betrayal. The late-night texts, the secret meetups, the just friends lie. We've seen this movie before. Now, let's talk about Sienna. Was she genuinely changed, or was she manipulating the situation? Her timing is suspicious. She shows up when Lucas is stable, confident, and in love. That's not growth. That's calculated. And the biggest heartbreak? Rachel. She walked into a relationship where she felt safe and valued. She trusted Lucas, and he shattered that trust, not because he was swept away by passion, but because he chose not to set boundaries. This story isn't just about cheating. It's about self-sabotage, about reopening old wounds thinking they'll feel like home. Lucas didn't cheat because he missed Sienna. He cheated because a part of him hadn't healed. And now, the person who truly loved him is gone. Now, let's turn to the Reddit community where things have definitely gotten heated. People have a lot to say about Lucas and his choices. Some believe in second chances, while others think he deserves to lose it all. So, let's dive into the top comments that have been getting the most attention. Comment 1, upvoted 1.5K times. Lucas, this is not a mistake. You intentionally invited Sienna back into your life, knowing it would hurt Rachel. That's called emotional cheating, and you have no one to blame but yourself. Rachel deserves better than this. She should leave you, and honestly, you should be alone for a while to think about what you did. By you, Heartbroken Hiker. Ouch, that's a harsh take. And you know what? It's true. Lucas wasn't just passive in this situation, he actively made choices that led to his betrayal. He crossed the line, and now he's got to deal with the consequences. Comment 2, upvoted 950 times. I don't think Lucas is a bad guy here. Yes, he messed up, but relationships aren't perfect. He was caught up in the past, and sometimes we make decisions we regret. People can grow, and maybe this is the wake-up call Lucas needed to truly commit to someone. Not saying what he did is okay, but it's not the end of the world. By you/optimistic Tommy. That's one way to look at it. Is Lucas just a guy who made a huge mistake, or is he someone who needs to learn and grow from this? Some are still hopeful he can find redemption. After all, nobody's perfect, right? Comment 3, upvoted 1.2K times. Let's be real here. Lucas wasn't in love with Rachel if he was still thinking about Sienna. He wanted the stability with Rachel, but he craved the excitement with Sienna. It's a clear case of being torn between two people. But you can't be loyal to someone when your heart is divided. By you/Real Talk Tina Bam. Now that's a solid point. Could it be that Lucas was just settling down with Rachel while holding on to his old feelings for Sienna? When you're not fully in it, your actions tend to show. So, was Lucas ever truly ready for a stable, loving relationship with Rachel? Comment 4, upvoted 1,000 times. Honestly, I don't think Sienna is to blame here. Lucas was the one who allowed it to happen. He went into the situation with his eyes wide open. Sienna wasn't forcing him. He made the choice. He should own up to his mistakes and apologize to Rachel, but let's not pretend that Sienna is the villain in this story. By you/Justice. Seeker 87. Interesting take. Sienna isn't the villain in this, just the temptation. The real issue is Lucas. He let his guard down, and now he's paying the price. Does Sienna deserve some blame? Maybe, but Lucas is the one who betrayed Rachel's trust. Comment 5, upvoted 1.4K times. Sometimes, I think we judge people too harshly. Lucas is human. He made a mistake, but that doesn't mean he's evil. Everyone's entitled to make mistakes. The real question is whether Rachel is willing to forgive him and move forward. Maybe this was a wake-up call for him. By you joint second chance, believer. A little softer on Lucas. While some think he's beyond redemption, others are holding out hope that he'll learn from this. Can people change? Should Rachel give him a second chance? That's the question on everyone's mind. And there you have it. Some people believe Lucas made a huge mistake and should be held accountable, while others think this is just a bump in the road for a guy who's capable of change. But here's the big question. Can Lucas rebuild the trust he's lost? Is there hope for a future with Rachel, or has he ruined everything? What do you think? Should Lucas be forgiven, or is it time for him to learn the hard way? Let us know your thoughts in the comments, and make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more heart-wrenching love stories. I found out he cheated. 15 hours before our wedding. It was 2 a.m. the night before my wedding. My dress was steamed, my vows were written, my bridesmaids were asleep, and my fiancé accidentally texted me instead of her. The message read, "Last night was perfect. Can't wait to be inside you again after this wedding circus is over." I blinked, read it again, and every single plan I had for the next 24 hours fell apart in 1 second. I wanted to scream, but I didn't. I wanted to run, but I didn't. I wanted him to feel what I felt, not later, not in a breakup text, but in front of everyone he lied to. So I made a different plan. The dress stayed, the flowers stayed, but I took his name off my vows. I walked down the aisle the next day, smiled, looked him in the eyes, and when the officiant said, "Do you have your vows?" I nodded, opened a folded piece of paper, and read his messages out loud. There were 112 guests. His mother fainted. Her friend screamed. He stood there, frozen, and I said, "I do deserve better, and that's why this wedding is over." People always say the night before your wedding, you'll be too excited to sleep. I was awake all night, but not because I was excited, because I had just discovered that the man I was about to marry was already in a relationship with someone else. 2:13 a.m. A message came through, from him. And no, it wasn't, "Can't wait to see you tomorrow." It was, "Last night was perfect. Can't wait to be inside you again after this wedding circus is over." That's how I found out. Not through guilt, not through confession, through a mistake. He texted the wrong woman. And the best part? The woman he was texting was the bridal shop assistant, the one who zipped me into my wedding dress 2 weeks earlier, the one who told me I looked beautiful while secretly sleeping with my fiancé. You might think I broke down, but I didn't. I just sat there, staring at the screen. My wedding dress was hanging by the door. My vows were on the nightstand. My future was supposed to start in 12 hours, and it ended right there, with a typo. I had 2 options: cancel the wedding, cry, explain, disappear, or show up. Let him stand at the altar. Let everyone gather. Let him walk into a trap he built himself. So I chose the second. I put on the dress. I curled my hair. I let the makeup artist do her job. Because he didn't deserve a broken version of me. He deserved the most composed version of the woman he threw away. I walked down the aisle like everything was fine, like I was still the bride he promised to love. My heart wasn't beating fast. It was beating steady. Steady with truth, with rage, with clarity. The officiant looked at me. "Do you have your vows?" I smiled, unfolded a small piece of paper, and said, "I do, but I want to start with something even more honest. Then I read his text, word for word, to the entire room. The guests went silent. His groomsmen froze. His mother gasped. And he just stood there, like a ghost at his own funeral. I looked at him, really looked at him, and said, "This was supposed to be the happiest day of my life." And in a way, it still is. Because today, I don't marry a liar. I don't marry a cheater. Today, I marry the truth. And I walk away with my dignity. Then I handed the mic to the officiant, gave my bouquet to my maid of honor, turned to the audience. "Enjoy the food, everyone. There's no wedding, but there's still an open bar." They thought I would say yes. He thought I would stay quiet. But on the day I was supposed to commit to him, I finally committed to myself. Some people asked, why didn't she just cancel the wedding? Why show up? Why still wear the dress? Why still walk down the aisle if she already knew the truth? The answer is simple, because she wasn't there to celebrate a marriage. She was there to bury a lie, in front of the people it was lying to. Canceling would have been easier, quieter, more polite. But he wasn't polite when he betrayed her. He wasn't quiet when he whispered to another woman behind her back. What she did wasn't revenge. It was recognition. Recognition that her pain wasn't private anymore, because the betrayal had already been made public, in a text message he sent by mistake. She didn't expose him to hurt him. She exposed him because she refused to be the only one hurting. And let's be honest, we've all been taught to protect the dignity of the people who break us, to take the high road, to walk away quietly, to keep the secret so the wedding still looks perfect. But perfect for who? For guests? For photos? For a man who cheated the night before saying, "I do"? She didn't make a scene. She made a statement. A woman standing in front of a crowd and saying, "I deserve better, and I won't pretend otherwise just to make you comfortable." It was her moment, and she chose to take it back. Not with screaming, not with slaps, but with clarity, with truth, with the kind of power that doesn't need to raise its voice. So I ask you, have you ever known the truth and been told to keep it quiet for the sake of appearances? Have you ever smiled in front of a crowd while bleeding on the inside just to protect someone who didn't protect you? Tell me in the comments, because some weddings are canceled by lightning. Others, by a woman who finally chose herself. Out loud. When she stood at the altar and chose truth over tradition, she didn't just speak for herself. She spoke for every person who's ever swallowed betrayal to keep the illusion alive. And Reddit answered, with fire, with pain, with relief that someone finally said it out loud. Top comment, most upvoted, most shared. She didn't ruin the wedding, he did. She just refused to perform on a stage built on lies. I left with my name intact, 427.6K upvotes, because she didn't destroy anything. She just refused to decorate a lie. Poetic, powerful. Thousands bookmarked it. She wore the white dress, held the mic, and buried the lie in front of everyone who once believed it. Truth in Tula, 398.2K upvotes. She didn't run. She stood still and let the truth echo louder than the vows ever could. One-liner that broke the thread open, she didn't walk away from the altar. She turned it into a courtroom. U/Savage and Sacred thumbs up, 312.5K upvotes. Sometimes you don't need revenge. You just need an audience and the truth. Controversial take. Sparked debate. I get it. But doing that in front of his family? Damn. That was brutal. You/maybe two. Far question mark. 177.4 thousand upvotes. 19,000 replies. Let me ask this. If he wasn't too ashamed to cheat, why should she be too ashamed to speak? Truth isn't cruelty. It's closure. So, let me ask you. Have you ever been told to keep quiet so things look good on the outside? Have you ever stood in a room full of people smiling while your truth screamed for someone to hear it? Tell me in the comments. Because some weddings don't end in "I do," they end in "I'm done." And that might be the most honest vow of all.